Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be part 1 of day 5 with my Oklahoma Extreme Mustang makeover horse. And I did end up putting day 5 into 2 videos because I didn't want it to be too long. So I just wanted to make this quick intro to tell you guys that. There was a good breaking point I could have used. And in the next video I get on her for the first time, so make sure that you watch that one as well when I put it up. And I don't want to make this too long, take up too much of your time, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. Yesterday my phone died for most of the day, and my camera I don't have with me, so I'm kind of just getting everything off of my phone. But look at what we have. She's in the stall right now, so I'm just gonna go in and say hi to her this morning. Hi girlie. Hello. She's wondering where the alfalfa hay is, even though there's a big hole in the hay net for her to easily get the coastal. She wants her alfalfa. I have Bermuda on me, maybe I'll give you that tonight. Alright, we just made it from the barn into the round pen on our big scary walk. She did really good. You can tell she's a little nervous, but look how much more fluid and forward that walking is right now. What a good girl. I'm gonna break day 5 into 2 parts because I don't want the video to be crazy long. But after I got her out to the round pen, I just started moving her feet around some. And I'm really gonna focus on getting my cues softer with her, so I have to be really sure that I'm sequencing them correctly. So for me, that's pointing, clucking, using my whip. The other thing I'm working on is teaching her to canter in the round pen because she really struggles with this in her balance and she gets kind of frantic. So what I do for this is, again, sequence my cues and really push her, and I can't stop pushing her until I get a canter step, but as soon as I get even just one step, I let off all the pressure, as you can see. So right now, it's not so much about how long she can hold the canter, it's just that she goes into the canter when I ask. So if that's only for a stride or 2, that's okay. That's how I accept it. And that's the best way to start working with your horse and teaching them how to canter either in the round pen or on a lunge line. If you're like, my horse just won't go into it, well then you really have to push them until they get just one stride, but then remember to reward it. Always reward for the smallest tries. And you'll find that, especially tracking to the right, she'll look in a lot for reassurance and be like, should I still go? Should I keep going? So again, I'll just gently remind her to keep on her way. Going to the left though, she's pretty good. Again, I make sure to always reward her as much as I can. Get in there, pat her face. That also not only is a reward for her going around and being good, but teaching her that when I'm with her and next to her and petting on her, that it's a good reward. And I didn't show all of it, but I probably had her follow me around the round pen about a lap or so. So I really try to focus on, again, creating that draw and making her want to be with me. The next thing is haltering. So I've only haltered her a couple times, so it's important that even though we're working on more advanced things, that I continue to work on this. A good way to practice it is making sure that every time you go into the round pen or a stall or something, that you take the halter off. Don't just leave it on and then clip to it again. This is a great way to force yourself to practice haltering. Now we're going to move on to some body maneuvers. So first, breaking up that hind quarter, really getting it separated and moving. I'm looking for that leg to cross over and the front end to stay still. And I'm just going to keep asking until I get a really soft step that I like. Just like that one. And I try not to drill everything, so if she's good on one side, then I'll switch to the other. And again, in this footage, you'll see that In the videos, I'll just show it on one side, but please know that I did everything on both sides. Again, really big on those rewards. Still gonna ask, really looking for that leg to cross over like it did there. Good. You'll notice too in all of my Oklahoma videos, if I leave the background sound on, that it is crazy windy. I mean, like, seriously, one day it was probably 50 or 60 mile-an-hour winds. Like, I was trying to open the round pen door and it was pushing me the other way, and I had all of my weight against it. So she did really well tolerating all of the weather conditions. Now we're working on separating the front end. This is usually trickier for horses because I find, especially with Mustangs, they like to barrel into you with their shoulders or pull you out with their shoulders. So it's important to get those broken up and get those moving. And I'm a little more lenient with this. I try to get, again, just 1 or 2 steps, and I'm happy with that for a while. So I'll just keep adding and keep asking, adding pressure until she takes that step over. And again, super quiet releases. I try to stay really calm around her because she does have a little bit of frantic energy. So here you're going to see that I don't release because she keeps stepping backwards and forwards and crossing behind. So I'm going to keep asking just until I get 1 step because she's a little bit confused. Very nice. So then I ended on a very soft step. Now I'm working on sending her out to lunge. So again, I'm guiding her with that hand and pointing with my finger and just adding a little bit of pressure from behind. Even just her taking a couple steps out, I'm going to reward. She has a really good bend and likes to look at me as she goes out, which I like, but I have to make sure that that won't turn into her using her shoulder to drag me out eventually, which she does a little bit on the other side, and you'll see that. So now I want her to increase the circle size, and I'm just going to stay quiet with my body language if she's tracking around nicely. Ask for those hindquarters to yield. Really good. So there's 2 ways I like to end the circles, either by asking the hindquarters to yield or drawing them back up to me. Eventually, I may ask her to halt directly on the circle where she is in her track, but that's a bit more advanced, so I'll do that later on. So she's a bit stickier this way, so I'm going to keep after her. And she got just too stuck, so I wanted to help her out. So I picked up the lunge whip to have that be a more solid barrier to help guide her. That seemed to do the trick, but you can tell now she's keeping her nose towards me, but you'll see that she starts to bulge out and pull me out with that shoulder. And right now, I'm not really wanting to bump on her halter. I'm just letting her go around. You'll see, I think I start to bump on it a little bit more later. Yeah, so right around here, I want her to learn that she can't push out with that shoulder. So I'm going to give her some half halts, little bumps on the lead rope to get her attention again and send her back out. And the other thing I'm working on is getting her to slow down to the walk. So again, especially this direction, she likes to be a little bit more upbeat and hold that trot. She doesn't really like to walk. So just like I was doing with the canter, but now the other way around, I'm going to bump her, ask her to walk, and then if she walks and gives me 2 steps, I'm going to really reward her for that. If she goes back into the trot, then I'm going to bump again and ask her to come back down to the walk. So it's just shaping what you want by rewarding what they give you. And I did get either a comment or a message recently that asked me how I work on keeping a horse at the walk while lunging because they just want to trot or canter the whole time, and that is exactly what I do, is just reward those small attempts. Now we're going to some rope work. You'll see I toss it over and do some snaking. She still gets a little bit worried from this. That's why I keep doing it in my warm-up every day. Just especially around her hind end. And you'll see today I take a little bit more of a focus on touching those hind legs with objects, which I'm going to have to do for quite a while with her. Not because she kicks or she wants to be mean or nasty, she's just way more nervous. And now bringing the focus to the front legs, I'm getting touch all around the entire front leg by moving that lead rope back and forth on it, and then I'm going to add some pressure to see if I can get her to lift her leg with the rope. Keep asking. Sometimes you have to push on their shoulder or their neck to get them to shift their weight because they'll put all their weight in that one leg. So I got it, but then my rope was too loose, so it slid up. So I'm going to ask again. Hold on tight. So if they hop around a lot, you're going to have to stick with them. You don't want them to learn that they can get away from that. Then as soon as I have the leg up, I'm going to take it with my hands and rub it all over the inside of it, the back of it, all parts on it. And then whenever I'm done with the leg, I'm going to set it down myself instead of letting her take it from me. So when you start picking up their feet for the first time, you want to do very short, small increments. If you try to hold it for too long, then you're just going to create a bad experience. So again, just like with rewarding, start with small amounts. That time I was able to pick it up just with my hand. I didn't have to use the rope, which was really good. She's starting to relax. And now to the other side. For this side, I again touched it all over with the rope, but instead of using the rope initially, I just tried with my hand. She was able to pick it up. Good, same thing, rub all over it. A little bit of padding on it. I'm going to try to start preparing her for a trim soon, so it's important I get her prepped for the farrier. And now we're going to look at those back legs with swinging the rope around it, and we're going to touch it with a whip later on. So I'm waiting for a quiet response to release. Good. If she starts to move around, again, I'm going to keep my body really calm and keep doing the same thing. Your energy levels are very important when you're working with horses, especially these wild Mustangs. If you can stay calm, that's only going to feed into them, and the other way around, if you start to get nervous and frantic, that's just going to make them bring their energy levels up even more. So again, I'm just going to wait for her to keep her feet still. So I'm going to reset my rope, do one over her back since that was really scaring her, and then again around her hind end. So again, that's just building her confidence. Good. And now onto the stick. She did really well on this right side with it touching the outside and the inside, so I rewarded her pretty fast. And when I went over to this leg, she wanted to lift it up and get more nervous around it, so I'm going to hold it there until I can see some sort of sign of relaxation. Good, and that's much better. So much safer to use tools to touch back there first before you go in with your hand, and then you have to get really close with your whole body. Now I'm doing some sound desensitization, working on snapping the whip. I stay in one place for this, and I kind of let her move around, do what she needs to do until she settles, and then I stop snapping it. Kind of the same concept with everything. If she settles, then she gets the release. The other thing I do with this is because it is a sensitizing and desensitizing tool, I'm going to bring it up to her and rub it on her afterwards to make sure she's not afraid of it. And let her know that it's the energy behind it that she would need to respond to. So just like rubbing her down with it, the snapping of it is actually also a relaxation area because my body is relaxed, the energy coming through it is relaxed. But now if I were to send her out and use it as a barrier or something to help with impulsion, then that's where it would be more sensitizing. And now just really quick, gonna cover flexing because I'm thinking I might want to hop up on her today, so it's important to know that she can flex softly both ways. And I don't believe I've worked on this with her before, so it was really surprising to me that she got it really fast. We didn't have any movement. She knew to turn her nose and get soft. So on this side, I ask a little bit more, seeing if I can even get her to move her body, but she gives into it every time and softens, so I release. And now, very last thing in this video, because in the next video, it's going to be my first time on her, is getting this bridle in her. So she's pretty locked in the jaw, so even just getting my thumb in there for her to open her mouth and lick and chew is pretty difficult. So I work on that a couple times, make sure that I can rub down her muzzle, she's not uncomfortable there. And this is my, I believe, second time putting the bit in her mouth. And she's just going to hold it. I'm not going to do anything with her. I just want her to get comfortable holding it first. So I sped this part up because it ended up being like maybe 30 or 45 seconds, but you can see that she gets a little bit claustrophobic with it. As soon as it's in, she settles down. I'm going to work on desensitizing to her sides by touching all over, rubbing my leg around her leg, making sure I rub her girth area, touching her flank, jumping up and down, kind of rocking her body back and forth, seeing how she responds to all of this in preparation for getting on her. And really the biggest place there's tension is just in her neck, and she doesn't even necessarily lift her head that high, but I'm still going to do some pull releases to try to create that relaxation. But she kind of just tenses her muscles and stands in one place. Good. It's so interesting to watch their ears. She always has that one ear back to me. And again, rubbing under that belly, the flank area, getting some shedding done as well. She did really well with that, and that is going to be the end of part 1 of day 5. I hope you guys stay tuned for part 2 where I get on her.